An XI, you sacrifice the old version of who you are. You sacrifice the incompleteness that you think you are as a woman, your body shape images and all that stuff. You sacrifice that stuff so your real beauty and your real intelligence, starts to show through.
At some of the country's biggest companies. So that's a good sign. We see more women in those high-level CEO leadership positions,
Absolutely.
But it doesn't come without a price. And I wanted to talk today about what you see as being one of the biggest challenges that executive women are facing in those leadership positions from an XI perspective.
No matter what the numbers it is, you look back and see what the issues that many successful individuals, women individuals faced back in the day. So you're just going to have a lot more of them just because there's more women, in those successful positions or starting companies on their own, which is really fantastic. Are they bringing the same baggage as everybody else, to the table? We want a new business paradigm, especially for women. It doesn't have to be a man's world. You don't have to turn into, say, a man's personality to be successful. You don't have to play the same games, say, the men do, because you're not a man. So all those little logistics that most, again, women don't really look at. It's like, yes, it's going to be a great opportunity to find myself or to define myself. I want to be on my own because I think that's where a lot of people, it's like, I don't want to be tethered down to, a husband or, a partner, right? I want to be on my own. So again, being on your own, does that mean that you lose yourself being on your own? Does that mean that you sacrifice yourself being on your own? You'd have to get rid of all that stuff beforehand. And that's where exponential intelligence comes in. And then you start a successful company knowing that it's going to define who you are. It's not going to be, that company is not going to be a savior for you. It's going to be a definition on the success that you've become. Most women and most people in general, not just women, but most people go, I'm going to start that company. It's going to be successful. It's going to define me. You don't do that. Again, it's the other way around. You define who you are. That company becomes a reflection of who you are.
You work with a lot of high-level executive C-suite CEO type people, and without naming names, obviously we have confidentiality agreements with the clients that you work with. But what is would you say, common quality that you're seeing with the female executives that you consult with, the issue that they might be facing as they rise up to those highest levels of leadership?
Oh gosh, Cheryl. I don't know where to begin.
That may be a loaded question, but
because it's, with my abilities and, what we do, we work on the whole human. We want to we want to have like spherical abundance, not just like success in business. So when I see a client, I see all aspects of their lives. I see how their business is going. I see how their personal life is going. I see how they're right down to the hormonal systems, because that gets affected, when your business is not going well, or if you're a man's world. And this is that question is loaded because, all aspects of you, when you start a business, start to shift or start to transform. It's another identity of who you are, right? And if this identity isn't congruent on who you are, it becomes a nuisance, or it becomes a burden for that individual. So when women start to become successful, again, those individuals, they come to me and they start even looking more masculine. They've lost that feminine identity. Although they might look feminine, very feminine, they don't feel very feminine on the inside. Their hormones actually show it. They go to the doctor and say, I don't know, something's wrong with my hormones. Their menstrual cycles change and all that stuff because they're losing their identity of being a woman. And I'm not talking about, women in their, 50s and the older. I'm talking about, younger women, late 20s, 30s, 40s. Again, those hormonal changes start to, affect them at that age. And then this is what I was talking about earlier, is that older women who have been successful, they come to me and it's like, Moss, I just want to be a woman again. I just want to know what it is to be a strong woman. I don't care about the money anymore. That's how painful it gets for a lot of women.
One of the issues, I think, for women as they whether they have started their own company and they're continuing to lead it, right? It could be super successful business that they started themselves, or they have worked their way up the ranks to lead, let's say, an S&P 500 company, right? Like leading these huge corporations.
Mhm.
So they probably have had to go through some level of sacrifice to get to that point.
Absolutely.
And if that pattern is entrenched in their psyche and in their being of like, I have to sacrifice this to rise up the
Mhm.
ranks, or I have to sacrifice this in order to make this grow, they
Right.
might be kind of perpetuating that pattern. How can do you find that to be true is the first question. And if it is true, how can they break that cycle?
Oh, absolutely. Because you watch, the Success Channel, or you watch CNN or Fox News, and they have a head of the CEO, and you can see that woman. And to me, I see their frequencies, and they're not women anymore. They've literally lost, their luster of being a female identity, right? So again, and that's the biggest, say, pushback that I have on them, or the biggest. It's like, yes, you're successful, but if you lost yourself becoming, that success, life becomes a sacrifice. They sacrifice themselves for their companies. They sacrifice themselves for their, partners or their kids and everything. And again, the money, the value of money goes down. The value of their success, literally like just plummets. Just like some of their stock prices, they just like hit rock bottom. I'm not saying that high levels of success does not come without burdens or sacrifice, but the key is like, what are you sacrificing? There's always sacrifice, don't get me wrong, but most people sacrifice their presence, their sense of self, their humility, their humanity. The key is like, what aspect of yourself are you sacrificing? And XI, you sacrifice the old version of who you are. You sacrifice the abuse patterns that you might have been raised with. You sacrifice the lack patterns. You sacrifice the incompleteness that you think you are as a woman, your body shape images and all that stuff. You sacrifice that stuff so your real beauty and your real intelligence, starts to show through. So you're still sacrificing, yes. But what most people do, again, which is crazy to me, is that they sacrifice the best parts of themselves to achieve a better version of themselves. Well, if you've already given that away, when you think you've achieved what you think that is going to put you all together, you're going to see that you're just empty. And that's what happens to a lot of these women.
So Moss, what you said about, giving the best parts of yourself away,
Mhm.
does that have to do with self-care? We often hear this term self-care is kind of thrown out there as, take time for yourself and go for a walk in nature and have a bubble bath. Is it that kind of stuff, or what do you mean by?
This is frequency wise. And again, the old paradigm is that you give your best parts away, or you sacrifice your best parts, right, away to achieve something else. Okay. In that scenario, it never works out. No matter women or men, it never works out. Okay. Again, I just want to reiterate, you're still sacrificing. Okay. You're still doing the hard work of finding who you are. You're doing the hard work of the shadows that are inside you, the weaknesses that are inside you. You're working on that, and then you're giving that away, right? You're doing the hard work to look deep inside you, that inner expansion, again, to turn those weaknesses into strength. Okay. So what most people do, and this is what you're talking about, is that they give their best parts away, the parts that should be nurtured, the parts that they should keep, the sharp parts that they should, like polish up more and more. But what they do is like, shit, I just gave myself away. I need to go for a walk and reclaim, or like settle with, or psychologically, come to a level where I'm okay with what I just gave away. So, and that's what most people do. They go for a walk, they take a vacation, they do whatever that they do. That's not nurturing yourself. That's literally settling or coming to terms with what you just gave the most precious parts of you away, going, shit, I guess that's what life is about. I guess that's what most walks are. When most people go, shit, I need to walk away from all this. I need to take a break. What do? You start to come up with ways to go, well, I guess that's just the way life is. I'm going to settle. I'll just live with it, and so on, like that. I gave that away, right? And then you start fresh. Uh, Again, that's not what I'm talking about. Not at all. Again, and I just mentioned what I was talking about. You're finding the weaknesses in you. Okay. And then, you find all those things, the memories, the frequencies, the patterns, and so on, right? Your deeper, say, frequencies that dictate your success mechanisms. We talked about the 3 frequencies of success that you need. You start to, say, hone those. And then when you do go for a walk, it's not about, coming to terms with self. It's about realizing, okay, it's like you go for a walk, you take it easy, you get comfortable, you go to a vacation. It's because it's like, I'm getting ready to leap to the next level of, say, awareness of myself. So it's like you're finding more of yourself. So you're taking that break. You're kind of like stepping backwards and just getting ready to launch off and to find out more of yourself. Again, the other way is, well, the other way, we just like what I just talked about, right? It's like you gave a big chunk away, and now it's like, I guess I just got to settle with the crumbs that's left over.
Well, you just gave a good example too, I think, of the vacation, right? It's
Mhm.
the busy CEO running a big company, and then they take a 1 week vacation to Bora Bora, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
recoup and to, and in many cases, I think those high level executives probably need to be forced on vacation because they're
Yes.
workaholics and they, are all about their work. But it's a different energy if you go to Bora Bora with the intent of doing it, not because you're forced into it or you feel like I really, I have to take this
Mhm.
vacation and I really need to do this, as opposed to I'm going to Bora Bora because I'm going to use this as an opportunity to get myself ready for the next level of my existence and my self-actualization journey. Those are
Absolutely.
2 totally different levels of frequency that you're going on that vacation with.
Absolutely. And it's really cool because you're going on vacation and then you're so excited about reclaiming who you are. You're not forced to not think of work. You just don't think of work because your higher self and you are like getting together and it becomes really intimate. It's like a rendezvous. So like an escape. You plan out like, God, how are we going to find ourselves? So it becomes, it sounds crazy, but there are many individuals, high level individuals that now take vacations and they go, wow, that was the best vacation I had, because they're still doing the work. They still have to check in with the office and all that stuff, obviously, right? But they really start to do those things that really nurture their internal dialogue with themselves, that higher connection of who they are.
So, Mas, executive leadership obviously is still male dominated, even though we see more and more women coming into those roles, which is great.
Right.
But it is still male dominated. What are qualities in women who are in those high level executive positions that you'd like to see them exhibit more of? What maybe feminine qualities, if you want to put it that way, or qualities in general? Maybe it could be personality traits or qualities that you'd like to see, and consult women to bring more of themselves into their executive leadership roles.
Here's the key, and I wish I had a drawing, but hopefully we can visualize this, right? You're human. Okay, human is a filter, right? You're seeing your light. You're human. That's a filter or genetic makeup that you're running, and then you're a woman or you're a man. Okay, and then success comes after being a woman and a man. So most people, and again, the order is very important. Human, and then feminine, femininity or masculinity, whichever that you are, and then success. So success is not dictated by a feminine quality, if that makes sense to you. Success patterns are the same whether you're a female or you're a male, right? You should be on time. You should, stick to your word. You should be congruent with yourself, and all those things. It's not like, well, men should be this way and then women should be this way and so on, like that. And that's where most people get it wrong. They put success, the filter of success, or they use the tool of success way over here. So success now becomes, say, the first filter. So they lose their human identity, and then they lose their filter of becoming a man or a woman. And that's where the key is. Again, you can't do that. Success is not a filter. It's not the first filter that you should use. So XI, becoming exponentially intelligent, and this is where, people take breaks. This is where, people start out companies and so on, and they replace that. When you're in the business world, and what happens is that you don't lose yourself. Most women create, say, this competitiveness that's masculine, right? To win at whatever they're trying to, say, succeed in. And that, again, that loses their femininity and they become more and more masculine.
So it sounds like it's less, the concept here is less gender-based and really probably more personality-based, in that you said, don't lose yourself. So if you are, whether you're a man or a woman and you're leading a huge company, don't lose your qualities of who you are as a person, your personality, as opposed to focusing on, oh, I'm a woman leading a company or I'm a man leading a company. Am I hearing that correctly?
Absolutely. And you can still be a woman leading a company. That's totally cool. And again, you define who you are, masculine, feminine frequencies, and then the success principles. Again, success principles are all the same. But the cool thing about it is the outcome. When these filters are properly aligned and you're seeing yourself, in that sync, they're properly aligned in both ways, in time and space, so to speak. What happens is that your feminine quality of being that strong, say, what I call XI woman, shows through in those success principles. So the success has a frequency of, say, femininity in it. Okay. And being a feminine, say, leader, that is, say, aggressive or assertive in certain situations where they need to be, is more powerful internally and for the group. And you get a better outcome for the contract and your employees and whoever you're dealing with if everything is incongruent. This is more powerful than, say, running a masculine pattern because you're a weak female trying to be aggressive as a male, because it disrupts, and this is where personality issues, conflicts, and so on like that. Most companies that fail, it's not because of the idea or even the lack of money. It's because of personality conflicts. And this is, again, it stops those personality conflicts or identity conflicts that people have. So it's more than just your personality, it's your presence, or it's your essence, and when you walk into a room and you don't know who the person is, and that person just commands that leadership, and just like, whoa, who is that?
There's a feeling, there's like sort of an essence around that,
right.
Almost like an aura. Sometimes you feel like it's an aura around a person. And I love that you said that the qualities of, let's say, assertiveness or even aggressiveness, when it's warranted, are not necessarily singularly masculine qualities.
No.
Right. And they're not. I mean, you can absolutely be a woman who exhibits when the time is needed and when the time is right, that you're exhibiting those qualities. It's neither masculine nor feminine.
Absolutely.
But your aura or your essence or your frequency of how you're leading that company is paramount.
Yes, absolutely. And when you do that, and then, you get better feedback, you become more of that human that you are, the original reason why you're here. And then your success and your company grows more and more. And this isn't just theory. Again, I've helped, hundreds and hundreds of high-level CEOs, run their companies. And when that CEO level is really good, really congruent with themselves, it just filters down. Their managers, their employees, contractors, whoever they suppliers, they all start to say, it's like, what is this company doing? Because it feels very different. It feels very congruent. It's like, I want to work with this company. And there's been situations where suppliers give even better discounts and so on. It's like, yeah, we could go somewhere else, but we want to be here instead, So there is a real value. It's not just, it's not just about your internal self, but real value comes in, because this is what people are looking for, not just, the bottom line anymore. Although the bottom line becomes a lot better for you, and it becomes a lot easier for you, but you find who you are as well.
I love that we, in this conversation about executive leadership for women, we've determined that, it's really more about the aura, the essence, or the frequency at which you lead your company,
Yes.
irregardless of your gender,
Yeah.
and that you can still exhibit quote unquote masculine qualities, or what we would have deemed to be. Maybe after this conversation, people will think about it differently.
Yeah,
But leading a company is leading a company, and you obviously
absolutely.
help a lot of people to find the wholeness of who they are, and the balance or the wholeness of how they can have a more well-rounded entire life. One
Absolutely.
aspect of that being the leadership role that they're in. So Moss, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, fantastic. Yeah. So for those CEOs that really want to, have a spherical level of abundance, where they have success in their companies and, their personal lives, their internal self, their spiritual self, you'd want to contact customers at mossajati.com. That's customers with an S. And you want to ask for, hey, I want a discovery session on what the possibilities are out there for you.
Okay. Thank you so
Simple.
much, Moss. This is great. I think that women who are in leadership positions obviously have a lot going on in their lives, and perhaps this conversation will help them to explore the opportunity or the idea of, furthering that balance approach to their lives from the XI perspective. Thank you.
Absolutely. That was great.